let's start with Jamal Adams, Stanford. Jamal's like, I want to trade. I want out of here. And a lot of people can say, whoa, but we saw Jalen Ramsey do it. We got Jamal Adams doing it. Is this the reality of what players are now? If I'm a winner and you're a losing franchise, I'm not sitting around having you ruin my career.
Yeah, if you'd asked me this question about 4 or 5 years ago, I would have told you no way, no how, because that just was not the complexity of the league at the time. But now, when you see what Jalen Ramsey did last year, when you see what Micah Fitzpatrick did, getting out of Miami, going to Pittsburgh, having a Pro Bowl season, that's the new norm in today's NFL. Is players now have a bigger platform, they have a bigger voice, so they're going to make sure that they actually are the architect and the author of their story. If they are on a losing team and they get drafted high in the first round when they come out, they're going to make sure that they go to a team that is winning, that is committed to winning, and a team that is not anemic to it, like you see teams like the Jets or the Dolphins or the Browns.
And similarly with Dak Prescott. Dak says, I want 4 years, Cowboys 5. To you, is that more of player empowerment?
I remember back in 2009, a former teammate of mine actually started that trend with Nnamdi Asomugha signing that 3-year contract for a large sum. And I noticed that a lot of players started to take note then. So when you look at Dak Prescott, he's looking at Jared Goff, he's looking at Carson Wentz, 2 players that were drafted number 1, number 2 overall in his draft class. So he just simply wants to make sure that he's paid, he's compensated the same level that they are. And also because Dak already being towards his late 20s, he wants to make sure that he can hit the market again in his early 30s, because the growing sentiment right now in the NFL is that quarterbacks do not hit their prime until they are 30 plus. So he wants to make sure that he's able to cash in at that same time, because the salary cap is just growing. And just the marketing is growing for all of these players, especially the quarterback position. Who knows what the salary or just the economy of the position is going to be in about 4 or 5 years. So Dak, I'm definitely all for him, because he just simply is following the trend that the Aaron Rodgers, the Russell Wilsons of the world have already started.
I've been critical of Cam Newton through the years. I think he's been a better celebrity than a quarterback. I think he's had one great year. He's never had back-to-back winning seasons, which is pretty remarkable for somebody that's considered an elite quarterback, which is why I don't consider him elite quarterback. I think he's B-, C+, and I think at times he's distracted. But I do think with COVID-19, with shortened camps, we're going to have quarterbacks get, COVID-19. There's going to be more injuries. I think he'll find a spot. But are you surprised the market is small and he's still not on a team yet?
I'm not necessarily surprised, because given when Carolina decided to let him go, it was a game of musical chairs. So you see Phillip Rivers signing with the Indianapolis Colts. You see Tom Brady going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You see Teddy Bridgewater going to the Carolina Panthers. So it's not surprising, because when you look at a Cam Newton, he's taken a decline ever since the the MVP season in which they went to the Super Bowl back in 2015. He's only had 3 seasons of 60% completion or above passing. And in today's game, it's all about precision passing. It's all about quick game. It's all about getting the ball out of your hands very quickly, spread offense, things like that. So Cam Newton has taken a decline over the last couple of years. That's number one. Number two, when you factor in Cam Newton is a superstar. He's a polarizing figure, figuratively and literally. And that's going to be very difficult for a guy who was a JUCO national champion, who was a college NCAA national champion, number 1 overall pick, has been starting ever since he got drafted to the Carolina Panthers, been in the league 9 years, a former NFL MVP. It's going to be very difficult for him to accept a backup role in this league. And I think the teams are very cognizant of that. And they're probably a little skittish of actually having someone that polarizing being the most famous person on the team, albeit he's a backup holding a clipboard and a headset every Sunday afternoon.
So this will be a year in which we have a chance to see Joe Burrow, Tua, and Justin Herbert all start at some point in the year. Now, I think Burrow probably starts week 1. Go back to your playing days. When you faced a rookie quarterback, what were the tricks that you couldn't get away with a Breeze or, a veteran quarterback? What are the tricks a guy like you, a high-end defensive back, used on rookie quarterbacks?
Oh, wow. One that comes to mind was Sam Bradford back in 2010. It was he was with the St. Louis Rams at the time, tried to try me on a 9 route. and I intercepted it early fourth quarter. We wound up winning the game. And the thing is that with most young quarterbacks in this league, you got to find a way to trick them, disguise things like that, because they have not been around. They have not been able to see everything that Drew Brees, Tom Brady, guys like that have been accustomed to for so many years. So I think that's the main thing. The main component is pressure them and also confuse them, disguise your coverages, throw in a few exotic blitzes. And most of the time, unless it's like an Andrew Luck type of rookie, most of the time they're going to struggle because they simply have not seen that type of complex defense at the collegiate level.
You were a world-class track guy. You ran, if I recall, 4.2740. It was the fastest.
My man.
Yes, you were a speed guy. So, and I've said this with joy, when I see pictures of receivers, corners, and quarterbacks, I think to myself, you can stay in shape right now. But I'm thinking about like units, like offensive line, and I think to myself, special teams could get really choppy this year. With your background in track and field, would the time off be beneficial? How good of shape could you kept yourself in not being in the facility? Or do you think this is a year where everybody's a little out of shape, everybody's going to get dinged up? How would you have handled it with your track background with no OTAs and potentially an abridged camp?
Oh, I was actually just having a conversation with one of my friends who actually plays in the league still right now just the other day. And he was telling me that, Stan, everybody's going to be out of shape when they come back. And I'm not sure where I come out on that because given my track background, I think that for right now, with it being the quarantine and this pandemic and everyone now having to work out on their own, I think that with my knowledge of the sport, things like that, I would still be able to maintain a certain level of shape, but preparing for the game of football, the only way that you can truly get in football shape is to actually go through football practice, football games, whether it's a scrimmage, whether it's something like that in training camp. That's the only true way to match that level of intensity and that level of soreness that you're going to have the day after practice, going to the next. That's the only way that you're going to be able to attain that and match that in the NFL is actually going through it.
Stanford Route joining us. Would you be comfortable going to camp knowing you could catch COVID? Would it bother you?
I'm a germaphobe, and I'm OCD. I'll tell you that right now, Colin. So it would definitely be an uphill battle, but I love this game. I've always loved it ever since I was a kid. So I would find a way to navigate through this tough time to still be able to play this game that I know and love so well. But I definitely do want to know the parameters. I want to know the precautionary measures that Roger Goodell and the league is going to have in place whenever the players come back for training camp.
You look good. You look happy. So you're handling the COVID thing fine. What are you doing right now? Where are you staying? How are you doing? How's your family doing?
Oh, everybody's doing good. We're just quarantining, making sure that we are all just trying to stay away from this virus. Like I said, I'm a germaphobe. I'm OCD. A lot of people in my family are, so I think that's where I get it from. And just trying to stay positive, stay healthy. I've upped my juicing, so I'm doing my best to try to be as healthy as I can. Whenever I go work out, I make sure to have on layers. That way I'm actually sweating even more because I've heard that heat is actually something that is a deterrent for COVID-19. Not sure how true that is, but that's just the things that I've been hearing. So, yeah, I'm definitely in good spirits right now. Just doing this thing whenever I can, the broadcasting, making sure that I'm staying up on top of that. So all in all, everything is going well. Hope you the same, Colin.
Yeah. One more question I was thinking about. So the Raiders are going from Oakland to Vegas. And fans don't care. But let's say I've got two kids in school and my wife has a social network. And all of a sudden I got to move to a new city. We looked up a number about a month ago, and teams that move are never good the first year. It's a mess. So I look, and I was in Vegas this weekend. I flew by the stadium, and I drove by the stadium, and I'm thinking, the idea that I'd have everybody on that team has to move their entire family to Vegas. It's probably good for Vegas home sales with all these pro athletes. What was when you went from Oakland to Houston, Kansas City? Take my audience into being a pro athlete. Hey guys, we've all got to move. How is it ever disruptive to your game?
Luckily, whenever I moved from Oakland to Kansas City, that was during the offseason, so I had a chance to go ahead and acclimate myself. So that wasn't as big of a hurdle. But whenever you're actually moving a team from one place to the next. Now, it's only one state over, California to Nevada. I mean, good Lord, I can imagine how it was when St. Louis moved to Los Angeles, the Rams. It is something that definitely takes a lot of support from your family, teammates, things like that, because you're going from one city to the next. You're going from one team to the next. You got to actually learn a different culture, maybe from one that you've actually been accustomed to. So it definitely has some growing pains. But I think that if you have the right people around you, that's going to actually lessen the effect of those growing pains actually transferring over to the field into your body of work.
Stanford route 8 NFL seasons. Good seeing you. Look healthy and happy. Good seeing you, buddy.
Yes, good seeing you too, Colin. Always love to be on.
All right.